We're doing all sorts of interesting things. I'll give you an example. If you want to mine Bitcoin, you can build your own power plant. Miners are going to put their data centers on top of gas fields. And I think that is going to turbocharge Bitcoin mining in America.
Okay, so that was the US Commerce Secretary Howard Lusick talking about Bitcoin mining in the United States. Really positive future by the sounds of it there. They're really trying to get that adoption, bring the industry onshore to the US, both the miners and the projects themselves. So that's really positive. Now, if you don't have time to go through all the news, go through all the videos, look at all the indicators, that's what this channel's for. This is an overview of the crypto domain as a whole. We're covering news, we're covering indicators, we're covering the market, and we're also covering things that not many people look at, such as token unlocks, burns, things like that, just so you're aware of what's coming up in the industry. Now, one of the things that's impacted the industry the most in the last 100 days has been the man, Donald J. Trump. Now, I know he's polarizing, like him or hate him, he's had a massive impact on this industry in the last 100 days, right? Let's listen to Christine Lee from CoinDesk Daily and hear what she has to say about Donald Trump and what he's done in the first 100 days.
U.S. President Donald Trump's first 100 days in office have been a flourishing reset for Bitcoin and the crypto industry, set to work immediately, signing an executive order on digital assets that establishes a presidential working group on digital asset markets, also known as the President's Crypto Council, to evaluate a pro-crypto policy framework. Bitcoin investor and PayPal Mafia alum David Sachs was tapped as head of the Crypto Council and the White House's AI and crypto czar. Though what really got everyone excited was when Trump signed an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and U.S. digital stockpile. Trump also signed a congressional resolution erasing an IRS crypto rule that made it nearly impossible for DeFi platforms to operate in the United States, and he hosted the first ever White House Digital Assets Summit. A serious overhaul of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission began when Trump appointed crypto-friendly consultant Paul Atkins as head of the agency, replacing Gary Gensler, who was seen as hostile to crypto. The SEC repealed Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, which allowed banks to custody digital assets without overly burdensome requirements. In line with Trump's pledge to end Choke Point 2.0, U.S. national banks were told that they'll no longer have to answer how controversial customers, namely crypto companies, might damage their reputation. Trump kept his promise to pardon Ross Ulbricht, founder of the Silk Road Marketplace. Trump also pardoned 3 co-founders and an executive of crypto exchange BitNet. Trump's personal crypto projects continued, launching his own meme coin, Trump, and offering direct access to the president by offering a VIP dinner to the top 220 holders. Democrats have written several requests for ethics, corruption, and conflict of interest investigations into the projects.
It's hard to believe, right? All of that in the first 100 days. Now, you know, the Trump token, not so sure about that one, or the Melania, let's put those aside for the minute. But things like the Bitcoin reserve, absolutely massive. The changes at the SEC, massive. The changes in banking, massive. These are all going to have massive impacts on not only the United States and regulation there and the industry there, because I believe once you get that going in the United States, other countries will start to follow. They are a world leader. Now, that'll mean that for the rest of the industry globally, it's going to be huge. At some countries, a retail investor can't even put money onto an exchange from their own bank account. So there are banks that are stopping that happening in places like the UK and Australia and that. So, these changes are going to be huge and they're going to be felt industry-wide. And just to follow that up, listen to Bo Hines and what he has to say, not only about Bitcoin, but about other digital assets as well.
I think that there is definitely a sort of space race as it pertains to accumulation of this asset, no different than there is with gold, right? So we're very excited about it. I think one thing I'd like to point out too about that executive order is that we recognize the other ecosystems that exist, and that's why we have the digital assets national stockpile as well. We want to encourage innovation in other spaces in the industry.
So again, it's just more positive news. We're having a red day, but we're getting all this positive news out, which is why this bull run is going to continue. Like, we are going to see the bull run continue into the back end of the year. I'm so confident of that happening. And then you'll remember that I spoke about Arizona and its Bitcoin reserve. Well, Listen to this.
history, but I think it's really important that we do recognize Bitcoin for its uniqueness. And like you've described, it's a finite asset. It's a commodity, not a security. It has the immaculate conception, as David has said, and that intrinsic store value piece is there. It's been well adopted by the marketplace at this point.
Arizona's legislature approved a pair of bills positioning the state to potentially become the first in the United States to establish a strategic digital assets reserve that could hold Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The bills, backed primarily by Republicans, await the approval of Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs, who has vetoed 52 bills this session and threatened to reject all legislation until a disability funding issue was resolved.
So look, hopefully it doesn't get vetoed, but it's $3 billion as well, 10% of their 31 billion or whatever it was. So it was about 3 billion that they could possibly invest into Bitcoin digital assets. So again, watch this space. Let's see what happens there. Now, the first article we're going to have a look at today is Metamask to launch self-custody crypto card with Mastercard. The new card will be backed by Mastercard, but faces steep competition from similar products offered by centralized exchanges. The new card is backed by Mastercard and is being developed in partnership with Secure and banks. According to the company, the product uses smart contracts to execute the in real life transactions with a processing speed under 5 seconds. It operates on the linear network, a layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum. Major exchanges like Binance, Bybit, Coinbase, and Crypto.com already offer crypto debit cards, some of which feature crypto-backed rewards that allow users to earn digital assets on their purchases. Now, payments have emerged as one of the fastest growing use cases for cryptocurrencies in 2025, offering a way to bring real world utility to digital assets. Look, I think that's going to be really, really big news. Metamask, so many people have Metamask as a wallet. A lot of people, it would be their first wallet, especially in the last cycle. It'd be the first wallet they got once they were on an exchange and they were looking at all these other tokens that weren't on exchanges and they wanted to buy them somehow. So it's a hot wallet, but a lot of people will have that. So I think it will actually have quite a big impact if they do work with MasterCard and bring this out. I think there'll be a bit of adoption. Okay, so let's take a look at the key market indicators. So we can see fear and greed is currently at 57, so that's down slightly on yesterday when it was 60. We've got the Coinbase app at 313, so that's improved. Yesterday it was around 330. Bitcoin dominance is pretty much flat. It was 61.2 yesterday, moved to 61.3. The total market cap's at 3 trillion. Volume is down slightly on yesterday where it was around 96. It's down to 82 billion. The monthly returns has moved up from 10% yesterday. It's now at 11. The Pi cycle top, historic risk and Newport are all remaining flat. We have seen some slight increases in the MVRVZ score and the BTC Pure multiple. So again, not big moves though, and we're not really expecting big moves until we're really into the cycle. Net ETF flows was at 655 million. Okay, so now we move into the markets. We've got trending is Alpaca Finance. It's also the top gainer at 262.5%. We've got the top 100. We've got Bitcoin at 95K. It's up in the 24 hours, 0.5%. Not massively material. There's a lot of red in the markets today, as we can see. Scroll down. Just looking for any big movers. Polkadot is down 3.9. Not that that's a massive move. 4% for Potenza Tau. Ondo's at 4.1. Trump has come back down. It was down a bit yesterday as well, so it's down 7% on the 24 hour. We have Casper down 5.9, so it's at 9 cents. So it definitely wasn't able to hold that 10-cent mark, although the whole market is moving down at the moment. We have, what do we got? Celestia 5.8. We're just really not seeing any green at all to write home about. Let's have a look at the crypto bubbles. So we can see it is just a sea of red. I mean, you've got Fartcoin, ever faithful Fartcoin there is green at 2.5. Swee's also green at 1.2%. Monero, there's really not bonk. There's not a lot there. It's all red. The big reds are Trump, Cass, Virtual, which we had seen Virtual moving up a bit, while Stacks, yeah. So really just a sea of red for the 100. The 100 to 200 isn't too different. You've got a little bit more green, but nothing to write home about. You've got Plume, you've got Safe, White, AIOZ, they're in the green, and you've got Mocha, which we saw that move on yesterday where it was green, so not dramatically surprising that it's moved back a bit more than some of the others, and same with Deep. So what I want to add to the end of the shows where possible is a little bit more information about other things that are happening that not everyone sees all the time. They mightn't be subscribed to some of these accounts on X. So we can see here, this is cryptorank.io data. You can see the top 10 chains by 30-day daily active addresses. So you can see Solana is well out the front there, ahead of Near. So that's something to pay attention to. I think Near will do well this cycle. You've got Tron next, followed by Sui, and then you work your way down. The other thing that's important to look at, especially if you hold any of these tokens, so these are the top 7 token unlocks of the upcoming week. Now, for those that aren't aware or might be new to crypto, one of the things you need to really be looking at is both the circulating supply of a token and the total supply of the token when you're looking at the tokenomics. Because if something is worth $5 now and only 10% of the supply has been released, and all of a sudden they release the other 90% of the supply tomorrow, then the value of that token is not going to be $5 anymore, because there's going to be a dump of tokens on the market. It's going to be 50 cents as an example, rough math, bucket maths. So if we look at this here, we can see Sui currently unlocked is 32.5%. On the 2nd of May, they're unlocking another 0.88%. So that's the 88 million tokens. So that's how they're the most important numbers to look at here. The amount will move depending on the price, obviously. But really look at what percentage of your tokens are being unlocked here, because I feel that's more important for these. So you go across, you've got Omni 16%, Athena 0.63%, Optimism 0.75%. Undead's Games is nearly 10% is being released. They've only got 31% released now. So, it's a third again. Ronin is 3.27, and Camino is 2.2%. So that's something to be aware of. This is only the top 7, but if you're invested in tokens, make sure when you're looking at the tokenomics, not only looking at what are the top wallets hold as a percent of the overall supply, but also have a look at when are the token unlocks. If they're after the projected bull run, then it won't have as big an impact on your price through this run, but it's something to be aware of when you're looking at tokens and doing your token analysis. And then another thing to just keep an eye on. Now, this one only shows today, so I'm going to look to get some more information on this and maybe do a video each month on stuff that's coming up for that month. But this is today's stuff, things that are happening. You've got the unlocks, which we mentioned. You've got some hard fork stuff happening. You've got some token burns happening, hackathons, airdrops. So there's stuff like that just to be aware of that's happening in the market. Okay, guys, let's leave it there. That was a lot of stuff to pack into 15 minutes. If you liked the episode, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out the Block to Basics series, which is really just a beginner series for people that are new to crypto. Hopefully it helps you out. I think you'll get a lot of benefit out of it if you are new to crypto, and I'll see you tomorrow.